Contrary to popular belief, it has been promoted that fear is healthy to scare people to behave in a manner society deems right or correct. In reality, fear is not healthy due to its underlying stress, striking at your wellness. However, I have found that it is necessary for self-preservation. A hustler does not fear consequences but only considers them before taking action. Own your fear, and life will yield to your advantage.
Shit all in my DNA, it's all in my veins. Pop got locked, OG gave me the game. Hit the block with the bag of OG I became. 50,000 in a month to keep me entertained.
Home trained. When I was 4 or 5 years old, my father used to dress me in suits, ties, and Dobbs hats. I was this mini version of how he saw himself, as a gangster and a pimp. The memories I have of him are few and far between. He was in prison most of my life. The vivid memory I have of my father on this side of the fence was him beating the shit out of me for drinking his liquor. He had left a glass on the living room table, and I made the gross mistake of thinking he left that for me. He came back from the kitchen, saw the glass half empty, and went into a rage. He whipped me like I stole something. My mother often expressed that she did not want me to be like my father. She reiterated this through the whoopings I received from her. Maybe she saw me as my father's spitting image, my said-to-be good features, which were referenced in the black family as fair skin, straight, curly, or manageable hair, plus smaller lips and nose was a conversational topic for my mother and her friends. Her friends would praise her for raising a little ladies' man, as she kept me up putting a jerry curl in my hair to 3 a.m. on a school night. It was picture day and she wanted me to look good. My mother's whoopings were epic. She had bought me some new clothes for a holiday. We were all going to Belle Isle. Before we left, my cousin and I went to play at the graveyard, coming home filthy. We would ride our bikes to Mount Elliott Cemetery to see the headstones and try to catch tadpoles. When we returned, all I remember was my mother yelling at me, then I saw blue and black stars. Granted, I was bad as hell, yet my mother's whoopings were confusing. Was she trying to beat my father out of me, or just taking her problems out on me? One day she made it clear to me and my brother that she was not raising no snitches or no punks, and that she would kill us before she ever allow us to become one. She didn't have to beat it in me. Her threats were enough for me to have fear just the same. My mother was also adamant about me not being like the guys she dated. Street hustlers were her type. I admired them for having a pocket full of money, nice cars, being well-dressed, and having good-looking women like my mother on their arms. I picked up on these same traits and characteristics as this became me as I got older. Once grown, I realized that my mother's tough love and discipline was preparing me to face certain fears and adversities as a young black man in America.
Cheat if I have to win. Fuck all your penalties. I'm a god, can't no other man deliver me.
Off the porch. I didn't do those B&Es for the sake of adrenaline rushes, nor did I have something to prove to anyone. I kept my mouth shut about it. What I liked was being able to buy nice things. Sometimes I had to wait for the people who lived in the houses I cased to leave. I often became frustrated with how people were always running late. Hurry up so I could rob you, I thought. At times, I was in freezing weather or thorn bushes. I outright looked suspicious walking up and down the block trying to look inconspicuous. Factors that should have made me forget about it and get another hustle. Yet I knew that patience was a virtue, and going on a dry run wasn't an option. How about prying open back or side windows, climbing inside, not really knowing who's there? They could have had a gun and been waiting on my ass. Looking for the safe and duffel bags, all at a neck-breaking pace while pocketing jewelry and tucking guns. What a relief to have made it home with the goods. Watching my brother's happy expression when I gave him stuff. My mother's lips curled tight, but she still accepted my offerings. It made my day. Making her smile even grudgingly was worth the risk.
Hardships hard in my heart and I left them bleeding. Didn't mean to leave when you needed me. I was trying to make this hard shit easy. I know I can make this hard shit easy.
Toxic. Damaged relationships. Scenario 1. Sweetwater Tavern was always a good place to go for lunch and socializing. Once I met an attractive young woman there. We had a pleasant conversation. She shared her recent ordeal with me, a drug deal gone bad. robbery, captivity, and being tossed out on the roadside by her assailants. I bought her lunch and a couple of shots. She needed it after what she had been through. We ended up spending the day together. She had such a strong will and great spirit. I got to know her and we eventually got involved. She was trusting and loyal to a fault. Her daddy issues somehow were appealing to me. Our relationship was short-lived, despite hooking up from time to time. In truth, I saw my mother in her, a woman in need of a knight in shining armor, a damsel in distress. Scenario 2. At a strip club, I locked eyes with an exotic-looking waitress. I was there with business associates and I didn't have time to mingle. A week or so had passed before I went back there again to conduct business. That waitress and I remembered one another. We instantly connected and had so much in common, like prison time. She had served time for trafficking marijuana, right up my alley. The people she'd been working for had left her on a meat hook. She was abandoned at a young age by her birth parents and later adopted. I wasn't only attracted to her looks, but her mind as well. She was smart and a fast learner. Clingy too, but I didn't mind. Her tantrums irritated me, and she'd become mad for not coming to bed after a hard day of hustling, throwing fits when I go to the studio without her, and other nuisances. I felt she didn't appreciate when we came into each other's lives when she needed a companion. Ultimately, it ended because of the stress and drama. Scenario 3. I met an older woman. She was loyal and a survivor. Her dedication to following the plan to the letter and aerobics regimen was what appealed to me the most about her. As much as we vibed and could converse on many topics, there wasn't much I could do for her. Despite her life being in order, she often complained that I didn't spend money or support her as she was accustomed to. Really, she wasn't open to letting a man take the lead, taking pride in being an independent woman. During our last argument, she said, "Don't punish me for having my shit together unlike your past relationships." In a manner of speaking, I was out the door. I had somewhere else to be. In all honesty, she was right. I only felt the need to help women who I knew needed my help. The women who I saw my mother in.
Gotta get back to you later. Right now I'm getting to the paper. I done did the plug 100 favors. I'm paranoid, I hate neighbors.
Payoff. Coming back from my out-of-town hustle was always exciting. Cashed up, making a ritual of going to the mall and shopping for the latest fashion. Calling my jeweler up and buying a new car through my broker, just to get back to the old neighborhood and be seen. Eyeballs would lock on me from hat to shoes. I would drive to a familiar car wash or two, hit some blocks, pull up on a few females. Let it be known that I was back in town. People would act happy when they saw me, saying shit like, "You made it, man." The hood mentality, living for self-image and accolades.
I done seen it put in so much work that I'm immune to the shit that hurts. This paper chase is a race, I gotta get it first.
Solo. I started off doing robberies with my crew. The bigger the jobs, the more confident I became. I saw jealousy building from certain individuals I committed robberies with. This brought about disagreements on how we would commit the robberies. It had gotten to a point where I was doing major robberies by myself. In fact, hitting licks alone was a relief. I no longer had the paranoia of being robbed while robbing a place. We all stuffed our pockets and hid valuables on robberies, lying through our teeth to one another, damn near killing each other to prove the other was lying. It was a dirty game that I was tired of playing. Committing home invasions and not having anyone to watch my back took balls. The adrenaline pushed me through. Coming back with all that loot, rubbing it in their faces, feeling I had the biggest nuts. My new attitude spilled over into life.
Driving down this road that I've been on for years. Imagine how much stress I've been through, I've been on for years. Been living with this fear of better get money, nigga, or you gon' die like your pop with no money.
A few real ones. Moving pounds of marijuana from state to state while on the run from U.S. Marshals and Feds, I headed to Atlanta with a tire stuffed with BC marijuana. I ended up getting pulled over in Tennessee by the DEU, Drug Enforcement Unit. They searched the truck for 2 hours but came up empty-handed. The tire was sealed tight. I told myself I gotta stop thinking I can do it all by myself. I was so pissed off when the person that was supposed to drive canceled on me that I decided, fuck it, I'll do it myself. This error in thinking continued to cost me for years down the line.
I lost and had to learn from others' mistakes. Gotta know when to break niggas, so give them a break.
Lose to gain. I made a hard decision to sell my BMW for 200 pounds of Arizona popcorn weed. I shipped my vehicle to Arizona and waited for the Mexicans. Before I could get the package, I got locked up. After being on the run for 3 years, I got picked up on a random traffic stop. Once they ran my fingerprints, it was off to jail where I had to face the music. The Mexican deal fell through due to me not being able to oversee the operation from the county jail. The money I was able to collect didn't even amount to the car's worth. I wound up paying lawyers off with the money. When the feds finally caught me, pressure weighed heavily on my shoulders. People depended on me, my family, my team, girlfriends, and the customers to whom I supplied marijuana. Somehow in that prison cell, my stress had been relieved. Although I could breathe easier, it was hard realizing that I couldn't do shit about what was going on in the free world. The weight from feeling obligated and responsible for so many others would only fall off after I exhausted every possible way to help. Even though I was the one who needed help, I started hustling inside the prison smuggling. I also ran street operations from the restrictions of the county jail through my brother. Together, we flipped the packages into nice profits. My bounce-back quality strengthened my drive to never stop the hustle.
I'm a rare fine gangster with a great mind. Plug out of sight with the killers on standby. He's alive, he say he got tape. Told the fans to their face they never catch me on tape.
Reckless. Elkton, Ohio Federal Prison. Me and my cellmate devised a plan to smuggle marijuana into the prison through the visiting room. The package came through like clockwork, until one time the visitor left the ounces in the trash instead. I created a tool to unscrew the handicap rail in the woman's visiting room bathroom, where they could unscrew the rail, place the ounces inside, and screw them back in. For some reason, they couldn't get the screws loose, so they had to leave the marijuana in a trash can. Big mistake. The CO had us throw the trash in the bin, which was just beyond the prison fence. My persistence wouldn't allow me to let my master plan be foiled. We hyped ourselves up to hop the fence to retrieve the package. That very instant it dawned on me. What the fuck am I doing? I was serving a meatball, a short prison sentence. Less than a couple years left. I could get charged with escape, and an automatic 5 years tacked on to the time I was already serving. Not to mention we could have been killed. I reassessed the situation and quickly jumped my ass back over the fence. Feeling defeated, I went back to my cell. This realization and wake-up call helped me get through my time to be eligible to get back out and get back to it. I epitomized the saying, work hard, play harder, up early making money and spending it at night in the clubs. It had gotten to the point where I'd have people bring me money they owed me to the club. Caught up in the moment, I made it a habit of spending thousands on drinks, women, tips, and partying. The next day, I had to double down to recoup the money that I'd thrown in the air, living as if the hustle would never slow down.
My people going broke from overspending, over shopping on dumb shit. That's why I'm starting businesses to profit.
Refining. Difference in mindsets. Scenario 1. At the club with associates having a good time as they tossed thousands of dollars in the air. The next morning, an opportunity presented itself to make a few $100,000. I contacted my associates from the night before at the club. None of them had enough money to buy into the great opportunity, but they were throwing away thousands at the club. Thousands which could have been invested to make 400 to 500% returns. Scenario 2. I had a friend and partner in the luxury rental car business in Los Angeles. Whenever friends came to town, I let them drive luxury vehicles through LA. Some had video shoots or filming projects that they were working on. I extended the same courtesy that had been given to me. One day, my partner brought it to my attention that I shouldn't risk our business and personal relationship by allowing someone else to fuck up a $500,000 vehicle. Then it hit me. He's right. I let a friend borrow my Cadillac SUV once. He'd have crumbs, food bags all on the seats and floor. It reeked of liquor and marijuana, He drove the rubber off the tires, fucked up my rims, resulting in my truck getting towed and impounded. Moral of the story.